You'll probably already know what this is. What's up YouTube, this is Akino from Louisville TCG, and today I'm going to be showing off this Brant Gate deck profile. I guess it's not the exact same list that you saw on WCC top decks, but you know, I've done some messing around with it. It might be the exact same list as my Springfest, because at the time of the recording this video, it's like before Springfest. So yeah, so maybe I'm shooting myself in the foot a bit here, but who cares? Anyway, yeah, so it's for content, yeah. So basically, Brant Gate is like a pretty cool ass nation. It's not as good as I want it to be, but you know, it's like, in my opinion, it's just either on the same level or a bit better than WAIFUS, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Alright, so anyway, let's get straight into the deck profile and stuff like that, because I don't want to be rambling on for too long. So obviously we've got the right deck here. I don't know, actually I don't even know how we're going to do over deck profiles. Do we do the right deck first? Anyway, yeah, starter, yeah, it's cool. Just dump over here. Grade 1, Cyanite blue. This one on ride searches for the prison, so you know, you get the prison into your hand, fantastic. You get your setup for to imprison your opponent's units and send them straight to jail, something like that. The only way they can get out is to pay tax or roll a double, you know. Second, the grade 2, Royal Battle Princess Rosette Pink. Yeah, if you can tell from my sleeves, it's like that. The color coded for each of the girls, like, you know, ruby red, kind of blue, Rosette Pink, and you know, you can probably guess what this one is. But yeah, Rosette Pink on Vanguard Circle, your opponent has to imprison one from hand. So this is like if you're against Baron Magnus, this is probably the only way you're going to imprison something in the entire game. So you know, that's just how it is. Against Bastion, it's like kind of sad if they imprison Fossard, but you know, resist units, am I right? On Vanguard Circle, you don't really care about her Vanguard Circle, but she gets plus 2k. It just doesn't matter. You're only running one, and it's in the right deck. Aura Battle Princess Sarah Snow. This card's the main grade 3 of the deck. It's the only grade 3 in my deck, actually, because I do not like the other grade 3. Because I don't want to be soul blasting to make a 15k, when I can just attack normally and get a 15k. But, it's like, Sarah Snow is like during a turn, she gets plus 10k if there's one unit in the prison or in jail. If there's 3, she gets triple drive. I don't know. In this meta, it's very difficult to get 3. Maybe it's next set, we'll see. We need lemon. I think you've heard me spouting that a million times, but we really need lemon. Second ability is once per turn. On the Vanguard or Vanguard Circle, you can counter blast 1, and you can imprison 2 of your opponent's units. So, you know, it's cool. It's choose 2 as well, so it's not choose up to. So bear in mind with that. If your opponent has 2, you have to imprison 2. So you can't take 1 and then just hot rod to draw. Well, you can hot rod to draw, but just count one draw, so it's not bad. Alright, so on with the deck. We'll probably just go down to grade, I guess. Around 3 Sarah Snow, because the other one's in the right deck. We're on 4 Agra Rouge. Now this is the triple rare for the set. She's a pretty good triple rare, actually, in my opinion. But it's just that everything else had resist. So she's a good triple rare, but she came at in my opinion, the wrong time. So if 2 or more opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison, she gets plus 5k and 10k shield. So she's a 15k attacker and a 15k interceptor. So she's a really good defense and stuff like that. So against stuff like Nirvana, she's always gonna be 15k, because you're gonna be imprisoning so much against that deck. If they play it incorrectly, this deck will punish people who misplay. So when it's placed on Vanguard Circle, you soul blast 1. She's on your opponent's front row rear guard. So I was playtesting this before she came out, and I ended up taking a bunch of back row rear guards, and that was my mistake because I can't read Japanese. But yeah, so she imprisons 1 front row and stuff like that. So you gotta actually sometimes you won't even use Sarah Snow's counterblast ability, and instead you'll be actually just imprisoning. If your opponent's got a board, you will be imprisoning with card effects rather than using Sarah Snow. Because Sarah Snow has get 2. You can call a Rouge, use the hot rod that I'm gonna show in a bit, and draw extra cards. So it's just an easier way to manage resources and try to get as much advantage as possible. Because that's what this deck is mainly about. It's it's less about because I feel like this deck doesn't have the pushing power yet to actually put out enough pressure, so it needs to go into the grind game. And you gotta make it so that you won't deck out before your opponent. It's kind of difficult with the amount of drawing, and maybe if Ceresno's got triple drive. But if Ceresno's got triple drive, then it's very easy. Then the game is almost in your favor anyway. So, second we run 4 of this dude, Gabble External. So he's a 15k attacker if you've got something in prison, something like that. You could like make the argument that this is a 15k attacker no matter what, if your opponent's like thing, but it costs a soul blast, and this deck uses up soul so damn quickly. So unless you run an extra order, which I don't recommend it, but I guess if you're running this, you can run an extra one of the order or something like that. But my build doesn't really worry about it. It's more about advantage, stuff like that, because all of the time there's either not gonna have the cards in prison, or you want to be going into the grade 2 rush, because this is what another part of my deck is. It's like rush early and then just sort of like stabilize, push them at higher damage that they have to keep guarding, and they have to keep wasting hand because everything is pressurizing. So this is a 23k attacker pretty much, because it's an 8k booster, 10, 18, 24, 23. 23k attackers aren't bad. They're 3 card guards, and and they're like annoying, especially if they don't have 15k. If they have a 15k, you know, it's 1 card guard, but what the hell. It's really good in the grade 2 rush turn, because with stuff like Kyanite Blue and stuff like Hot Rod, you can end up drawing a bunch of cards, and then not having to really like waste cards in hand, and sort of like keep rushing into grade 2. So it's a pretty good. I think it's a good card for now. But when Lemon comes in, then we'll see what happens with them. Next we got 4 Bobo Mine. I think that's one of the best cards in the deck. There's a reason why the price is jacked up as it is. At the end of the battle of boost, put it into the soul. If your set order zone has an order card, you countercharge 1. So it's both soul generation, soul like recharge, and countercharging. So it's really, really important, I think, that you don't forget to use this card, because there's been times where I've completely forgotten. But also you have to know that when you should use it and when you don't have to use it as well. Because sometimes, like, if you do it, you end up finding yourself in your hand that you don't have actually anything else to call down to boost. And this deck needs to boost. So like, to be able to put pressure, you need to be able to boost. So sometimes if you can keep the counter charge, if you have a bunch of face up stuff that's open and a bunch of soul, there's no point putting into soul to counter charge or anything like that. So it's a really, really good card because it's very, very situational in this kind of deck. Next, we run 4 Autonomic Caution. You'll notice that I'm actually only running 8 grade 2s and like a whole bunch of grade 1s. And, you know, because my deck focuses more on the rush kind of thing. Because a lot of things, you can either make 18 or 20, like, immediately. And that's what I try to, like, push through. So this is a 10k boost. This is a 10k booster or a 10k shield if your opponent has 1 card in their order zone. Or in prison, in jail. So it's good because like it's like Agro Rouge and stuff like that. It's a very smaller version of it. It's a common version pretty much, and one that doesn't imprison. But it's really, really good because it's a 10k shield, and it's like a 10k boost as well. 10k boost behind Sarah's nose puts her at 33, and that's very, very, and like your opponent will keep using the null to block her because she's at the moment, I think she's the highest attacking Vanguard at the current moment. So it's pretty good to having to like keep on boosting. Making like, I think like with this deck, making the Vanguard have more power is just the way to go because they have to keep nulling. It's just a PG check. If they don't have the PG check, then you could randomly win on the spot. But that's how I've sort of designed the deck. 4 Violate Dragon because, you know, these nulls are like free. If you have like if you have 2 cards in hand and then you place 1 in the Guiding Circle, then it's free. So these nulls are just good. Should run them. So we got 3 Kyanite Blue. Now running 4 of this card because one's obviously in the right deck, but because this card has on place +1, so that's on draw 1. And if you open one of these, right, you're basically calling it down, refunding a card in your hand, and then just calling another thing to like sort of boost and stuff like that. So then you have like you don't have to waste for your rush turn, and that's really, really strong for this deck because it's like 3 attacks and they could be hitting over 20 and stuff like that. It puts your opponent under a lot of pressure, and especially against things like Baron Magnus, where they don't actually have many cards that they want to guard with early game, and stuff like Bastion, where they won't actually have shield early game. So this kind of rush strategy just pushes them quickly into damage. You might think as well, like, oh, you're giving them damage. Why are you giving them so much damage so that they can play around with stuff and stuff? But like the thing is that this deck will not push late game. as it won't push against Baron Magnus late game because it's not going to survive Baron Magnus late game, and against Bastion, it's not going to survive late game either because Bastion's hitting everything so big. Everything's so big, so it's very, very difficult for them. So you want to actually rush them early on to push them to high. It doesn't matter if they draw 2 and stuff like that, because then you start playing the grind game. So I think that's why I run 4. It's pretty good. And last but not least, run 3 hyperspeed robo shovels that hot rod, sideswipe, whatever you want to call it. Once per turn, countless 1, soul blast 1, you choose one of your opponent's rear guards and imprison it in your prison. Then you have 3 or more opponent's cards imprisoned, you draw 1 card. So like, you know, it's a free, sometimes it's a free draw, so it's like another card like blue. So if it's on the rear guard circle, you just countless 1, soul blast 1, draw 1. So yeah, as I said, this entire deck revolves around just keep on making sure that you keep on drawing and stuff like that. Like in particular decks, he's pretty vanilla, so that's why I only run 3 of him as compared to 4. So whereas kind of blue can go off immediately in grade 2, so that's why I run more of her than this guy. So yeah, that's almost it for the grade 1. Of course, we've got one more grade 1 left to show. It's obviously the prison. So the prison, if you've been living under a rock and you don't know what the hell this is a set order card. You put it in the set order zone when you play it, and this one has a particular cost that you have to rest one of your units. So if you're first, you can rest your Vanguard and Soul Charge 3, or if you're second, you have to call something out. So you can still rush. That's why I run so many grade 1s. Or you can damage deny them, which is pretty, I don't know, in my opinion, it's not good at the moment, but like, you know, it'd be really funny like later on, I think. But you know, they can, once their cards are imprisoned in the prison zone, when they would normal call a unit, they can soul blast 1 to core 1 or counter blast 1 to core 2. So basically what that just means is that during their main phase, if there's something stuck in the jail, they can pay the tax and get it out, pretty much. So keep in mind to note, because a lot of people are a bit confused about that, if your opponent imprisons a grade 3, they can call it out if they're on grade 2. So that's something people should need to be worried about. So it's like, you know, maybe they can cheat out a grade 3 early and stuff like that, but you know, the only deck that's really going to be doing that is Bastion. Maybe Baron. No, yeah, just Bastion actually. Yeah, just Bastion. Next for trigger lineup, we're going to be running 6 crit. Now you might think I'm going back my word a bit here, but I've been experimenting a bit, and crits, like half the time you soul charge them, so you know they're not going to show up as often. But it's like crits you want to be pushing and stuff like that, but then once you hit them to 5, because this deck rushes really quickly, like immediately, you can put them to like 3 or 4 or something like that, and then you just attack them a bit. But they're at 5, and then these crits are sort of automatically just kind of like okay, they don't really do much. They only give power to one thing. So we also, to contemplate that, we run 2 draws, 2 fronts. So the 2 fronts, they're just there to make your, like, on your persona right turn, if you check it, it's pretty strong. But as well, like, if you check this, then the over trigger, everything is way bigger than normal than if you check a crit, then an over trigger. And it just makes it much more awkward for the opponent. As well as the fact that, like, if you damage check this as well, it protects your Aggro Rouge and stuff like that, because you don't want to be losing your grade 2 attackers, because if your opponent keeps killing them, then you can't get them back. And you only run 8 grade 2s, so it's only a limited amount. So this can protect your front row, and it's also just like a way to create more offense. So if you take this as well in grade 2, your opponent's going to be taking 3 damage pretty much, unless they have an ult. So that's why I run the 2 fronts. Next is 3 draws. 3 draws, just like, you know, it's pretty standard, I think, now in a lot of builds and stuff like that. You just run 3 draws because you want to draw cards. It's your, if you hard draw into it, you either like hell yeah or either hell no, because on one hand it's a trigger, you know, you don't want to be drawing triggers. But on the other hand, it's the easiest card to ditch to persona right, or not persona right, just right up on the right line. So yeah, just run 3 draws. Good checking defense, really good defensive triggers and stuff like that. Need them. Over trigger, because you know this card's like needed. If you don't run over trigger, you're gonna get memed on. If you do run, there's like a few arguments actually can be made whether you want to run this one as or the other one for this kind of deck. I think this deck, if you check it early, it's just like, you know, you'll win. If you don't check it early, then oh well, what the hell. A lot of the times I soul charge it, so it doesn't matter which over trigger I use because it's gonna go in soul anyway. Last, of course, I run 4 heals because 4 heals. There's really not much I have to explain about that. So yeah, so it's like it's a combination of both shield value and rush, and depending on how like things go in the next couple of days, I might give this a try. Plus it's like a grade 3 and it's 15k no matter what. So I might give that a try as well later. But it's also gonna like, if you run it, you have to cut down a bit on the rush strategy. So there's a lot of different, I guess, a few, like maybe there's like 1 or 2 different directions you can go with prison at the moment. Some people have been trying out with hybrid with WAIFUS. I don't like that idea at all. But if you like it, if you like big scary, if you like Chaosbreaker Dragons and WAIFUS, then go right ahead. More power to you. But yeah, so for all the people who are watching, and if this is released before Springfest and stuff like that, hope to see you there, especially if you're in AO, Australia Oceania, Australasia. So, yep, that's it for this video. So, yep, peace out. We're doing a lot of also we're doing a lot of fights for prison soon and stuff like that. This deck's pretty much ready. Other stuff that might come in as well, like Barrow Magnus. There might be some more fights with Barrow Magnus as well. But as well, I think like prison fights should be good once we get our splits. Once we get our splits, then we should be able to be like put out the content that you guys all desire. So, yep, that's it for this video. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe because I know a lot of you guys haven't done that. But yeah, that's it for the video. Peace.